Welcome to Raising Special Needs Kids. Real conversations, real hope, and real stories for families walking the special needs journey. Our host is Monica Schmelter, sister to a brother with Down syndrome, and we're here to remind you, you're not alone.
Welcome to the Raising Special Needs Kids podcast. I'm Monica, and I'll be your host today. And on the Raising Special Needs Kids podcast, we are all about creating connection and community, sharing the message that if you're in a special needs family, you are not alone. I started this podcast because I am the big sister to my late brother, Donnie, who was born with Down syndrome, and I was his fierce protector, and he was just the best little brother that a girl could ask for. We had so many happy times, and so to honor his life, I just wanted to bring this together so that I could bring other families together and we could share encouragement and hope. And today my guest is Abby Chandler. Abby, I'm so glad you could come out and be with us today.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, Abby, you've got 2 daughters, correct?
Yes.
Let's hear a little bit about your family.
Okay, so Emma is 14. She had a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome with her. First child, it's a lot to take in. And then my other daughter, Penelope, will be 12 in a couple weeks. So,
Nice. So they're kind of close in age.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do they get along most of the time?
They do better than my sister and I did. My sister and I were 15 months apart.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I remember I was a lot older than my brother. I was 11 years older, but it was sibling rivalry sometimes too. Like nobody else could say anything to him. But
Exactly.
Right. But if he
Exactly.
made me mad, well, we had to talk about it. So you were saying first child, you get that diagnosis. What do you think?
Wow. So at the time, it was a lot of, why me? This is not fair. And the only experience I had with anyone with Down syndrome or special needs was at my high school. I was part of this peer mentoring program where basically we would just go sit with them in between classes. I mean, that was it. And I thought it something I had done? Was it, now looking back, that's not how it works, with Down syndrome especially, but just a lot of things like that, negative feeling. And I was like online looking for support groups. And I did find one eventually and I now work for them. So it worked out.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So you knew right away that you needed community.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And is that helpful?
Yeah. I couldn't do it without it. Just for all of Emma's medical stuff, she had a feeding tube for the first few years. And I remember the first time it was surgically placed in her belly. And I would have to refill it every 4 hours. And I remember she pulled it out. And I panicked. I was on our Facebook group. What do I do? I don't know. And so I had a mom call me calmly who had experience telling me how to put it back in. And it was a success. So lots of little things like that. I think I'm to the point where I would trust another parent and my own instincts with Emma over a doctor. Not always.
But that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just to even have a few trusted people in your life like that.
Yes.
And thank God for Facebook and for community and that a mom, right? Because when something happens with our kids, we are on high alert. And I can't imagine what I would think if my kid pulled out their feeding tube.
Yeah.
I think that I would scream.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm so glad that she called you calmly and brought peace to your crisis and helped walk you through it. So you mentioned Emma had really some other medical problems in addition to the Down syndrome.
Yes. So we had a prenatal diagnosis of a heart defect, which is, for short, it's called AVSD. And I think the statistic is 50% of babies born with Down syndrome have this. Some clear up on their own, some holes close. Emma's did not. She was in the NICU for 8 weeks, kind of watching that and not eating by mouth, hence the feeding tube. And then at about 4 months old, she had her heart surgery. And through the community, I had gotten a lot of feedback, like what to expect, recovery, things like that. But with Emma, it wasn't like everyone else's experience. So they could not shut her chest, surgically close it because her blood pressure kept rising and falling. Um, so she just laid there with her chest open for I think it was about 3 days until she stabilized, and then they sewed her back up. It
I can't
was
even imagine dealing with
a
that.
sight to behold. I mean, it was frightening.
You had to be scared.
Yes, I mean it. I remember I was fascinated by all of it, and they assured me she was okay. She was out of it, she's not awake, but it was modern medicine. It was amazing. Um, and she ended up staying in the hospital for about a month because she just kept having one issue after the other. Whereas other families I know were out in a week after heart surgery. So Emma's always been on her own timeline, does stuff different. So, but yeah, we still go yearly. She's 14 now, so we go every year to check. There is a high possibility of another heart surgery, which I don't even think about now. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Right.
So,
Because that's a lot to think
Yeah.
about. And you're not 100% sure.
Right.
So why think about it?
Right.
So community helped you, yet at the same time, your Emma wasn't on the standard traditional timeline.
hmm
That had to be hard as a first-time mom.
yeah, well, having two, what do we call a typical neurotypical
Mhm.
child, and then Emma with intellectual disabilities. So it was like I was raising twins, and um, her sister met some goals and like walking and potty training before Emma even did, and they're over 2 years apart. But it was a very busy time when they were little, so doing everything kind of together. But I had nothing to compare it to because she was my first, so it was you just kind of roll with the punches, I guess.
Well, in that sense, that's good,
Mm.
right? You just didn't know.
Right.
You just dealt with it one day at a time by faith, really.
Exactly.
Lots of love and by
Mhm.
faith. So how about education for Emma?
It's been not fun. I mean, she is so smart and so capable, but unless it is a preferred thing that she wants to learn about, here's an example. For school this year, her teacher is telling me she didn't speak for the first month. Every day we would get well, she's not talking, she doesn't, so it takes her a while to get into the groove of school. And while there are laws in place for our kids, IEPs, for people who don't know, that's an individualized education plan. It's still difficult. It's still, she doesn't know math. There's a lot of things that she doesn't know, but in her own way, she's the smartest person I know. So it's difficult. The educational aspect for sure.
I remember, and they had those IEPs when my brother was little.
Mhm.
And I remember the stress in our household when parents would go meet with the counselors and the principal or whatever, and they would
Yeah.
talk about his placement and what he could do and what he couldn't do. And I just remembered that not being a good time in the house.
And that's the most difficult part of those meetings because it's like everything is in your face about what they cannot do. And that's not. I mean, she's my child. I know what she can and can't do, but to be told it by a group of people and what can we do to get her to do these things? And it's like, well, this isn't going to work. That may work. That it's just so much back and forth.
Yeah.
And Emma thrives when she wants to. I mean,
like all of us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
One thing that I noted about special education, it might not still be this way. I thought that they didn't make any allowances for my brother with behavior, but even if you have a typical kid, sometimes they do silly things,
Yeah.
right? But I would think, how are you going to take somebody with Down syndrome and make them perfect?
Yeah.
Because typical kids make mistakes and do things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I just thought it was very rigid with him, the bleak prognosis and
Mhm.
he can't do this, he can't do that. And I remember my parents telling me when they went to those IEPs that they felt like here was this group of really educated people sitting around this table, and they felt like they were all against them.
Yes, it does feel like that. It absolutely. And fortunately, there are things now like advocates. Now they can cost a pretty penny. That knows the law and they will fight. And you can go into these meetings as a parent saying, well, I'm going to fight for my child. But it can be overwhelming when you don't know the law to a T. And there's just so much. And there's emotion involved when it's your child. With an advocate, it's straight to
well, it's objective.
Yes.
Right. They're not emotionally involved, as a parent should be.
Yes.
So that makes total sense. I remember with another special needs mom that I was talking about, what she said about education is she knew the law. But basically, the school said, well, we know the law.
Yeah.
And we can provide, but we're really not going to be able to provide what she needs. So that particular mom just decided, that's fine. I will just keep my child home.
Yeah.
And I thought, how sad, because the law reads that is supposed to be offered.
Yeah.
But the school is just very upfront to say, what we're able to provide is not what your child needs.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be very discouraging as a parent.
Yes. And I think it was her teacher 2 years ago told me that she's never going to be able to read. And I'm like, how can you can see into the future? Like, it was so, it angered me so much. Because, you start with sight words and there's like things that make it easier. But to say that she's never going to do something, thankfully she is not teaching anymore. But that was the hardest thing to hear.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know. You don't know what.
Oh, no. They said my brother would never be able to do math and would never be able to read. So the math thing was true.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, as a teenager at 13, I thought that I could teach him math. And boy, I worked at it. I just knew if I gave him candy, like, it was going to. So that didn't happen.
Yeah.
However, even though they said he didn't learn to read, he did learn to read. And it was, probably about a 4th grade level, but
he still was reading.
it's awesome. I mean, he could pick up a book and he could read it.
Yeah.
So everything that they say that children can't do, you do have to fight back and at least try. And then, like, if it's the math thing with my brother, I eventually had to give up my little plan. I just knew that I was going to be able to help little brother do that. And then I thought, well, I don't like math that much anyway. So
and we have calculators everywhere. Why do we need math? Like,
Yes. So I don't think we were allowed to use calculators as much then, but I just thought, well, I never liked math myself, so it's okay.
That is great to hit. Penelope will try to teach Emma stuff all the time. And because of his sister, Emma will roll her eyes and she doesn't take it serious when it comes from sister.
I gotcha. Well, you might try candy. Like, see, this is what I did. I took my babysitting money and I would buy candy and I would bribe him.
She loves some chocolate. That may work.
And I did have to keep a lot of that secret from my parents because, but I was a big sister and I just wanted him to have opportunity and to have fun. And I did sneak candy to my other sister, too. So, right?
Yeah.
What's fair is fair. You said one of the things to me that you loved about community is that they said congratulations to you.
Yes, because that's not something you would think of when someone has a child and it's not what you thought it was going to be, the experience. And one of the great things about this organization that I found and now work for, the Down Syndrome Association, is that it's a big thing that we do is congratulate. Because I may not have asked for this, but I'm so glad that I have it now. And that's kind of hard to see, especially if you're pregnant and you get a prenatal diagnosis. You can't see the good things that are going to come yet. You don't know the good. I mean, you can hear others' experiences and stories, but it's not the same as experiencing it, But yes, to celebrate it and not act like it's just the worst thing that can ever happen. Because having a child with special needs is most certainly not the worst thing that can ever happen.
Oh, absolutely not. There's so much love and joy, and just like any other child. I was just talking to another mom today who she got that prenatal diagnosis, and I think she said she was in her early 30s, first child. And when she looks back, one of her regrets is that she didn't enjoy the pregnancy because she was just thinking, like, what is this going to be? What is it going to look like? And that baby, that child brings them so much joy and does so many great things. She wishes she could have just enjoyed the pregnancy.
Yeah.
But we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But she knows now. Do you think that Penelope is more sensitive to special needs children because?
Oh, for sure. there's this program at their school. They're both in middle school now, called Welcoming Warriors. So Emma's teacher started it, and so eighth graders mostly, but all they can sign up. They have to maintain a certain GPA, I believe. There's certain criteria to join Welcoming Warriors for Penelope. So Penelope got picked, and anytime that they've come to work with me for an event, these kids just flock to Penelope, and she's so patient. Um, and I think that gives a different perspective on life, and I mean, and she's her advocate. She will stand up for her, but she'll also say, "Leave me alone." And I've always said I get the best of both worlds with both of them. But yes, I would say she's definitely more sensitive and patient too.
Yeah. That's one of the things I want to encourage special needs families with, because I remember the doctors, telling my parents, well, you should probably just put them in an institution. This is not going to be good for your family. But it was good. Like, we loved him. That was my little brother. That was my parents' son. And had a little sister also. And we all loved each other, but then also, I didn't tease other kids. Like, once my brother came into my life and I understood about special needs, I became much kinder and more compassionate. And gosh, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So there's so many good things that you just can't see when you get the diagnosis. It's like, but when the child is here on planet Earth and growing and all those great memories, we wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yep, for sure. Not anything.
So I understand that you work with special needs at the.
Well, I'm more on I'm more on the office side, but so we have done events with the Down Syndrome Association. Like I said, this is when I got Emma's diagnosis, and I was looking for. In my head, it was like a dark basement where families went to cry and about their children with Down syndrome. And the first event we went to was an Easter egg hunt, and I was like 8 months pregnant with Emma. And I just remember this little girl, I didn't know her, never met her, comes running up to me, little brown, I remember it like it was yesterday, little bow in her brown ponytail, and just hugs my big pregnant belly. And I was like, oh, it's going to be okay. And I saw all these families enjoying it, enjoying themselves, enjoying their kids. Nobody was crying. Nobody was complaining. I mean, there is that too, but that's with any kid, special needs or not.
Absolutely. And all children have their stuff, right?
Yes.
No, there are no perfect children, no matter what people say. And all families have challenges with or without special needs kids. Yeah. So that event just kind of helped you.
Yes. And so we just had our most successful awareness walk ever this past Saturday. And we've had those every year. It's called the Extra Mile. It's our primary source of funding for all of our programs. So when a mom gets a new diagnosis or they don't have a prenatal and they're just born and they're told their child has Down syndrome, we give them resources, goodie bags, just whatever we can be there for, we try to be. And to have this organization be there for me and my family for so many years, and then to be a part of helping with other families it was such a God moment. And when I was offered that job, because I had freshly divorced, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I needed a job that would allow me to take Emma to her appointments, be there when they got off school. And it just fit every single need I had. So
God, that is a God moment. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, you need single mom, right?
Yeah.
You need to get a job, but then you still have to take care of these children. Yep. And she's got appointments that she's got to go to. Mm-hmm. Do you get exhausted?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's a lot, special needs or not, single mom or not. I mean, it's just a lot all the way around. Yeah. But I think taking a few deep breaths, having friends you can complain to, share joys with too, family. I mean, I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah. So
Abby, there's this book and the title is Parenting Isn't for Cowards.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like whether they're special needs or not, it's
Yeah.
a 24/7 job. And then I thought, like after they turn 18,
Yeah.
like I thought that I would be done.
Yeah.
And then you find out like you're always still a mom.
Mhm.
It's mom of an adult kid, but
Mhm.
you're just always being a mom and your children always need you. So that was a lesson that I learned. Is Emma in public school?
Yes.
And does she do other kids look at her like she's different, or is it okay?
I mean, I swear everywhere, anytime we go somewhere, there's somebody. Hey, Emma. I'm like, who was that? Whether it's a kid or staff member of the school. And they are welcoming and they are kind to her, but sometimes it's like she's cute. She's a cute little when she's a 14-year-old child, But yes, she is loved almost everywhere she goes, thankfully.
And thank God for that. That
Yes.
is absolutely wonderful.
Mhm.
We're almost out of time, but is there like a takeaway that you would like to share maybe with other moms or dads that is just trying to deal with all of the whys and, the different things?
I think you said it best. You don't know what you don't know. But I think in my experience, reaching out, asking a lot of questions, finding support in whatever form that comes is of the utmost importance, because it can be very lonely and isolating. I mean, there's been times that I can't go somewhere because I know Emma won't handle it well. But when you have all those other things in place, it makes it a lot easier. I think that would be my biggest. And it's just the best, like you said, and I'm going to carry that with me the rest of the day. Well, you don't know what you don't know, because that's so true.
Right. And what you're saying is that community is all the difference. And
Yes.
that's, one of the points of the podcast is let people know you're not alone. There is a whole community of families that want to encourage, that want to help, that want to say congratulations, right?
Yes.
At all the wrong moments, and to celebrate and to love on our children. One of the things I do, Abby, in each podcast is at the end, I tell a funny story about my brother, because he was just hysterical, and he would make me laugh a lot. So when he was in what would be elementary school, so he wasn't mainstreamed. He went to a special needs class, and his teacher was Mrs. McMacken. And I remember that my parents really liked Mrs. McMacken and felt that she really cared for the children and all of that. So when I got married, my mom invited Mrs. and Mr. McMacken to the wedding. Okay, to my wedding. So I had never met them before. And my mom pointed out, that's Mrs. McMacken. So I went up to Mrs. McMacken and I said, I'm Monica. I'm Donnie's big sister. And she said, oh, I know you. Whenever I correct your brother in school, he says, I'm going to get Monica after you.
You are the big sister.
So I was definitely the big sister. We'll be back again next time with more Raising Special Needs Kids.
Thank you for listening to Raising Special Needs Kids, a safe place for honest stories, practical help, and a whole lot of encouragement. We are so glad we're on this journey together, and we will see you next time.